Ambassador Krelvan had witnessed many species present themselves before the Galactic Council. In his 3 centuries of service, he had seen proud warrior races, ancient telepathic civilizations, and even silicon-based entities that existed in ways most carbon-based life couldn't comprehend. But humanity? They had been different from the start, quiet, observant, almost meek. The council chamber, a magnificent sphere of crystalline architecture floating in the void between stars, hummed with the usual cacophony of 1,000 alien voices. Humans had been members for merely 50 years, a blink in galactic time. They contributed little to military campaigns, offered modest technological advances, and seemed content to occupy their small corner of the Orion arm. Harmless, Krelvan had written in his reports, unremarkable beyond their unusual persistence. Today would prove him catastrophically wrong. The emergency session had been called after the Vrexian swarm breached the neutral zone. The Vrexians were a hive mind species that had conquered 40 systems in the past decade, assimilating or destroying everything in their path. Their latest target was the Terran colony of New Hope, home to 2 million human civilians. The colony cannot be saved, High Commander Zorth announced, his 6 eyes blinking in what his species considered sympathy. We lack the fleet strength to respond in time. The Vrexians will reach New Hope in 72 hours. I propose we mark it as a tragic loss and reinforce our defensive perimeter. Around the chamber, delegates murmured agreement. It was cold calculus, sacrifice 1 colony to save billions elsewhere. The human delegation sat in their assigned section, 13 representatives in simple gray suits. They had remained silent throughout the debate, which was typical. Humanity rarely spoke unless spoken to, rarely demanded, rarely made waves. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood slowly. She was an unremarkable woman by human standards. Average height, dark hair graying at the temples, eyes that seemed perpetually tired. She cleared her throat, and the translator embedded in the chamber's systems carried her words to every species present. We thank the Council for their consideration, she said, her voice level. However, we must respectfully decline your proposal. Krelvan felt his throat sacs inflate with confusion. Decline? They had no authority to decline. Ambassador Chen, High Commander Zorth rumbled, perhaps you misunderstand. This is not a request. The strategic reality, we understand perfectly, Commander. Chen's tired eyes suddenly seemed less weary and more focused. But New Hope will not fall. We're going to save it. Incredulous chatter erupted. The human fleet numbered perhaps 30 ships, scattered across their territories. The Vrexian assault force consisted of 300 warships supported by an impossible swarm of fighter craft. Mathematics didn't lie. With respect, Krelvan interjected, humanity lacks the military capability. Do we? Chen smiled, and something in that expression made Krelvan's scales prickle with instinctive unease. We've been members of this council for 50 years. In that time, you've seen us as harmless, perhaps even weak. We never corrected that assumption. It was useful. She activated a holographic display. The chamber fell silent as data streamed across the crystalline walls. Earth, Chen continued, is not our only world. It's not even our primary industrial base anymore. In the past 5 decades, while you watched our modest contributions to council affairs, we've colonized 417 systems. We've built shipyards in the dark between stars, manufacturing facilities in places you don't look because they're too cold, too hot, too radioactive for most species to survive. The holograms shifted, showing massive structures hidden in asteroid fields, wrapped around rogue planets buried in the hearts of nebulae. Humans are paranoid, you see, Chen said conversationally. We have this genetic memory of extinction events, of ice ages and asteroid impacts, of nearly killing ourselves a dozen times over. So when we reached the stars and found out we weren't alone, we didn't celebrate. We prepared. Another gesture. The hologram changed to display ships, thousands upon thousands of ships. Sleek, angular designs bristling with weaponry that made the Council's most advanced warships look primitive by comparison. We've been building, Chen said simply. We've been waiting. We've been learning from every species in this Council, taking your strengths, studying your weaknesses, and preparing for the day when someone would threaten human life. High Commander Zorth's combat experience kicked in. This is impossible. Our intelligence networks found exactly what we wanted you to find. Every human world you visited was a carefully curated display. Every technological exchange was calculated. Every treaty negotiation gave us what we needed while appearing to cost us dearly. Chen's smile widened. We're very good at seeming weak when we're anything but. Krelvan felt his world tilting. 50 years of reports all wrong. 50 years of dismissing humanity as insignificant, all miscalculation. The Rexian swarm will reach New Hope in 72 hours, Chen stated. Our first fleet will meet them in 60. Second and third fleets will emerge from slip space behind their position at hour 68. We estimate total Rexian casualties at 97%. The remaining 3% will be allowed to flee so they can report what they witnessed. She turned, addressing the entire council now. Let us be clear about humanity's position going forward. We joined this council in peace and we prefer peace. We've contributed genuinely to scientific advancement and cultural exchange, but we did not come to this galaxy as victims. We refuse to be prey. The hologram shifted one final time, showing real-time footage from the edge of Terran space. Ships were emerging from hidden facilities, from camouflaged stations, from locations no one had thought to search. An armada that dwarfed anything the galaxy had seen in living memory. New Hope will not fall, Chen said quietly, and anyone who threatens humanity or our allies from this day forward will face consequences that make the Rexians' fate seem merciful. She sat down. Her delegation sat motionless beside her. 13 humans who suddenly seemed far more dangerous than their simple gray suits suggested. The council chamber remained silent. Even the usually garrulous Kirathi had nothing to say. High Commander Zorth's 6 eyes were fixed on the holographic displays, his military mind already calculating revised threat assessments. Krelvan realized his hands were trembling. 50 years of humanity playing the role of humble newcomers while building an empire in shadow. The patience that implied, the discipline, the cold calculation, it was terrifying. The galaxy had paused, and yes, as Chen had predicted, it shuddered. Because humanity had just taught them all a lesson about underestimating the quiet ones, the ones who watched, learned, prepared, and waited. The ones who remembered that survival wasn't about being the strongest or the fastest. It was about being the smartest, the most adaptable, and above all, the most relentless. Humanity had unveiled its true might, and the galaxy would never make the mistake of forgetting it again.